Hello again. Thanks for joining me. Living here in Kintyre, we're very conscious of the sea. We can see boats of all sorts and sizes coming and going, and it's always a pleasure to come down to the harbour and look at them close up. There are more pleasure craft these days, yachts and cruisers bobbing at the pontoons, and cargo ships loading timber at the new quay alongside ferries. There's the lifeboat, always on standby to go to the rescue of any boats that get into difficulty. And there are the fishing boats. Campbeltown has a long history as a fishing port. Some of the boats we see today are owned by the same families that have fished here for generations. I heard a story recently of a young man from one of the fishing families who had gone off to college when he left school. But college wasn't going that well for him. He was struggling a bit, and he wasn't sure that his heart was in it. He was thinking of dropping out of his course. As the time approached when he had to make his mind up one way or the other, he decided to confide in his grandfather and ask his advice. Now, his grandfather was a wise old man, and he didn't want to tell his grandson what he should do. It was a decision he really had to make for himself. As they stood on the quay together, the grandfather nodded towards the fishing boats. "A ship is safe in harbour," he said, "but that's not what ships are for." And the young man understood exactly what he meant. There comes a time in all our lives when we face big decisions. We have to choose whether we'll stay in the safe and familiar or strike out in new directions. I think of two brothers, Simon Peter and Andrew, who were casting a net into the Sea of Galilee one day, for they were fishermen. Along came a man called Jesus. "Come, follow me," Jesus said, "and I will make you fishers of men." And at once they left their nets and followed him. They left behind home, family, the familiar and the secure, to strike out in a new direction with Jesus. I think of Jesus himself, safe and secure in his work as a carpenter, but growing in awareness of who he really was and what he was called to do. There were times when he struggled with that calling. On one occasion he said to his heavenly Father, "Lord, let this cup pass from me." But he held firm, and the next day he died on a cross so that we might live. What about us? Is there perhaps something in the life of faith that you're struggling with? Is there something that might make you want to give up? Talk about it with God. He may not tell you what to do, but he will hear and he will understand. And he may remind you that a ship is safe in harbour, but that's not what ships are for. God bless you.